In this video, I share with you the art of winning in business as a Muslim. The principles that I'm going to share in this video come from real world experience. If you don't know who I am, my name is Hassan, and I've built an agency to 55.5K per month. I've built multiple consulting businesses to 40K a month, one time solo and one time with a partner, as well as consulted and worked with some of the world's largest enterprise companies. Throughout the work I've done, I've helped entrepreneurs and companies generate over 500 million views, as well as generate over 10 million in sales across all of my clients, from the enterprise level to the individual level. So the principles I'm going to share with you here are going to allow you to thrive and win in business as a Muslim. So in the same way a Muslim pursues the number one goal that every Muslim should have, which is making it to Jannah, making it to heaven, you work hard for your akhirah. You work hard for the day that you're going to stand in front of God. And the same way you apply the disciplines that we do day to day as a Muslim can absolutely be applied into business. The number one reason you're going to win in business as a Muslim is you're going to have tenacity. So in the same way that you do your 5 daily prayers, in the same way that you constantly go back to Allah and repent for what you've done and pursue Islam with that deep burning desire for the outcome that we all want, you have to do the same thing in business. And you have to have tenacity, and you have to have the ability to not give up. So in the same way, there's a duality in a Muslim's life. So a lot of people will tell you, I need to focus on the life that comes next, because that's the only thing that's going to matter in the end, which is true. But at the same time, Allah tells us to complete the prayer and disperse into the land and go work and create and start businesses. Islam as a religion promotes this idea of being an entrepreneur. It promotes you being self-sufficient. It promotes you being a leader and being able to take care of your family. So once you understand that concept, that in this same deep desire that you have to make it to heaven, you can also win in this life, and you could win in an extremely big way in this life. You can build incredible products. There's no limit, there's no ceiling to what you can achieve, so long as you approach it with tenacity. So again, the same way you pursue your akhirah is the same way you're going to pursue this worldly life to achieve great things that impact the world, right? How many lives can you change as a wealthy Muslim? How many lives can you impact? How many of your goals can you set out to achieve? Once you have this core understanding, this core belief in yourself, and this willingness to work hard towards your goals, the number one thing you need to understand is you need to repeat what has worked. The number one reason entrepreneurs fail is they pivot too quickly, or they give up when things get too hard. And I'm going to illustrate this with a couple incredible examples for you. So when I first started as an entrepreneur, before the big agency, before the big consulting businesses and working with enterprise companies, I had a video production course when I was 17 years old in high school. That video production course, where I would help people edit in a certain style, was generating $17,000 per month when I was still in high school. If I had simply just stuck with this industry, right now we're in 2025, when I had started this was 2017. If I had just stuck with this same exact business, it would still exist today and probably be making $1 million a month. The reason I know that is because look at the landscape. Everybody and their mother wants to start and build a personal brand. So when I say that when you find something that works, don't pivot, I really mean that. I wasted, and alhamdulillah, it's not wasted, because I learned so many different things and I got to experience so many different businesses. And that's just what happens. You learn these lessons a little bit too late in life, or you learn them through experience. So I'm trying to save you 5, 10, 15 years of jumping around, having imposter syndrome, thinking the next business model is going to be the thing that allows you to break through. When in reality, if you actually land on something that works, meaning the odds are of you watching this where you've had a business model, whether it's a service, an agency, and so on, that has gotten you to 5, 10, 15K a month, stick with that and continue to scale that, because it's tried and true in business to have one ICP, one problem, and one solution to that problem. That's obvious, right? One channel of growth that allows you to bring in all those customers, brings in majority of your customers before you add more channels. So for example, if you're an organization who gets all of their clients through paid advertising, that's great. Scale that up as far as you can possibly go, and then start to add new channels. You don't want to try to operate with 4 or 5 different channels, because you're going to spread yourself too thin and you're not going to have any customers coming into your ecosystem. And the reason I know this is because in the same niche, in the same industry that I was operating in with my video production course, there was a company that stuck through that same process, kept going with that same offer, right? They innovated that offer slightly over the years, but the same core product was the same. That company scaled to millions of dollars per month. So, while I was, and this is the lesson learned here, while I was jumping from different businesses, I failed 7 to 9 different times with so many different businesses, a clothing brand, a service-based business, all these things that gave me so much experience. So I'm so grateful for it. But again, if you have something that works, why are you pivoting? Why are you shifting to something else? That's the biggest lesson here, is when you have something that works, stick with it. The next part of this lesson is know and understand that you might do 9 different businesses that fail, that don't have any traction, that don't move the needle at all. And then that 9th business is the one that puts you on the map. So it's not only about having tenacity, it's not only about doing the same thing once you get good results, it's also understanding that you may have to pivot. And the key here is to not be stuck at a decision. Don't sit and debate and ponder and strategize. You already have everything you need to go and build a successful business. You just have to go from 0 to 1, which is getting your first customer. Even if you have to get that customer for free, drop your ego and do that. Demonstrate that you have the ability to sell them a great service, whether it's mowing their lawn or shooting videos for them or running their paid media. So drop the ego and acquire a couple customers and prove that you have, or even if you can't prove it yet, work for free so that you can build the skill to be able to prove it for later clients. So that's extremely important as well. Another really important process you need to understand is you have to be willing to innovate. When we look at a company like Blockbuster, when we look at a company like Kodak, their lack of innovation allowed them to essentially die. So in the thought process of thinking of Blockbuster before Netflix came, Blockbuster was renting DVDs manually. There was a nice analog experience where you drive to the store, you choose a bunch of movies, you go home, you put them into the CD player, and you watch movies with your family. That was beautiful. But then streaming came knocking at their door, and they had an opportunity to purchase Netflix, but they denied it, or they declined it, which was the biggest mistake, which led to Blockbuster, of course, losing over 900 different stores because of their lack of an ability to innovate, right? And we live in crazy times where every single day there's a new AI, there's a new process, there's a new tool that you can use and implement into your business. So have an open eye out in the field and understand where you can thrive and where you can innovate. So we're in 2026 right now. Is it likely that you're going to succeed building a business like within the agency model? Probably not. Everybody's done that. There's so many people that already did that. Businesses already understand it. But are you a person who can go and build an AI service-based business or an AI tool to plug into, let's say, local businesses, or helping enterprise companies and utilize AI and so on? That's a business that can work because it's a trend that's trending upwards. It's also included in an industry that has a lot of innovation, right? The beauty industry, that's not going anywhere. Billions of dollars are being poured into an industry or a niche like that. So keep your eyes open, do your research, and learn and find what new areas, new innovations that you can adopt and of course, embed in your own business, but as well what you can sell, especially if you're just starting out. Another example of a company that died due to lack of innovation was Kodak. So Kodak was a film company. The cameras that you would use would essentially develop film, which is beautiful, and it was a great, incredible business, but digital cameras started knocking on their door, and their lack of innovation allowed them to, again, eventually die. So super important to keep your eyes open, as it will have tremendous results. And when we think of like an industry like AI, think of all the people that are creating content about AI at the moment. Simply because so many millions of people are flocking in that direction, there's people that are building incredible businesses, teaching AI, implementing AI systems into businesses, and so on. So that's just one example. I'm not saying you have to do AI. There's hundreds of industries like this where you just have to be smart and intelligent about where trends and where data is kind of pointing in. Truly winning in business as a Muslim is you have to own a narrow niche. You just need to own one specific category, and then you could expand. So you need one product, one ICP, one solution to that product. If you can do that, and I'll give you a great example here, you will win. So when Alex Hormozi was launching the company Gym Launch, he essentially would acquire customers through paid advertising. So all of his customers would come through paid advertising, his team would close and deliver the product that he had. Once that reached $1 million a month, then and only then did he start to implement a new channel, which was cold outreach. So he developed an entire sales team that would cold call and cold outreach and acquire customers. And that later on became a big percent of how he acquired customers. But a lot of you are trying to do 3 or 4 or 5 different customer acquisition channels, and it's not leading you anywhere because you're spreading yourself too thin. And I'm gonna give you a couple of fantastic examples. When I had my video production course, when I was 17 years old about this particular video editing style. The way I acquired my customers was through Instagram. I posted organic Instagram content, customers came in, and I scaled that business up. When I scaled my agency to 55.5K per month, I used LinkedIn direct outreach to CEOs and startup companies. And that was the only channel I used to get to these numbers. So when you understand that you need to go narrow and focused, that's how you quickly get to 5, 10, 15, 20K per month, because it's focused and all of your energy is going to one particular acquisition channel. A very important and interesting acquisition channel in this day and age is organic client acquisition. But the tried and true process for any of you who are trying to get your business off the ground and scaling it is whatever area you're focused on, whether it's cold outreach, warm outreach, organic content, or paid media, focus on that one given channel. And then later, once you've reached a certain threshold that you are looking for, right? If your goal is 100K a month with organic content first, and then you want to implement paid advertising and get that past 100K a month, that's a great approach instead of trying to do both at the same time. Typically, my number one recommendation is to do organic content, organic client acquisition first, which is simply the process of posting content online and customers coming to you. Now, obviously, there's so much more strategy involved in that process, but more often than not, you're typically proving your offer, you're proving the product market fit, and then you're taking all of those lessons and learnings, right, the biggest pain points that your customers are coming to you with, and then essentially you can turn that into, again, there's a million different ways to get to 100K a month, right? You could turn that into a webinar funnel, VSL funnel, and so on. So it's very dependent and catered to the certain kind of business that you have. So if you are a Muslim, if you're an individual who is trying to scale your business and you haven't been able to crack the right acquisition channel, I've helped clients in many different industries scale their businesses to 100K months, as well as adding 3.5 million to enterprise companies on a yearly basis. So I have a lot of experience in this domain, and I look forward to supporting you. If you're interested, you're more than welcome to book a call. And I really hope this video gave you a little perspective on what it takes to win. It takes a lot of focus, it takes a lot of tenacity, and it takes this perspective that you're gonna do one thing and focus on that one thing to get that early result. Don't pivot too early, continue to innovate and trust the process and have tawakkul and trust in Allah's plan. And there will be challenges, there will be hurdles, but as long as you can push through, then there's no doubt that you can succeed. This generation is extremely soft, and it doesn't take a whole lot to win in this generation, and I believe in you and I know that you can do it. So I hope you found this video valuable, and I will see you guys in the next one.